First Minister, let's start first with the juxtaposition of the fact that you're here inviting inward investment to Northern Ireland from America, but you don't welcome the US President's stance on the Middle East. Is that hypocritical?
No, absolutely not. I think that's the realpolitik. I mean, we are here, we're a newly formed executive. Emma and I are here as joint heads of government. Our mission is to engage at a political level, but also to attract investment and to tell people, investors, that we're absolutely open for business. When it comes to the Middle East, I think it's important that I distinguish the two things. I think it's important that, firstly, I will always recognise the role, the constructive role that the US administrations have always played in terms of the peace process. I don't believe we would have had the Good Friday Accord if we had not have had the role of the United States, so we're grateful for that. But I think that same critical approach, that practical approach that they applied to the Irish peace process, they need to now apply in the Middle East, and I will urge that in every opportunity on this trip.
Deputy First Minister, it's ironic, isn't it, that a US President who's pro-Irish unity actually shares the DUP's stance on the Middle East?
Well, of course, you know, as I've said before, I think everybody wants to see peace in that region. Everybody wants to see the hostages released. They want to see those discussions that can bring that peace. It's a very, very difficult and tragic situation. But of course, we are here this week because we have that unique opportunity and unique access to really promote Northern Ireland, particularly around that investment. We are very, very clear that what we want to do is to grow the economy of Northern Ireland, create that prosperity for everyone in Northern Ireland. We can only do that working hand in hand with foreign direct investment as well. And of course, the US is a huge investor, really, really important for our economy. So that's what we're here to do on behalf of the Executive this week.
Now, the bonds run deep between the United States and Ireland. You've been at a number of events, meeting the great and good from Capitol Hill. Does power sharing make a difference in terms of attracting inward investment?
I think it does. I mean, I think all the evidence points to political stability is something that actually investors look towards. So I'm glad that we're here this week. I'm glad that we have the opportunity to say that we are very much open for business and to sell our unique selling points that we now have to the potential investors. I mean, I think we have over 260 people who've previously invested in our part of the world, creating over 30,000 jobs. A lot of it is reinvestment. They keep coming back, so that tells you that they like what they see. So we need to bring that positive message to the potential that we have, because we're trying to grow our economy. We're looking towards the next 25 years. We're looking towards our tenure as leadership of the Executive, and that's very much about, you know, building that strong economy and ensuring that we have done everything that we can to attract the investment, to create jobs, good jobs, well-paid jobs that are regionally spread right across the piece, because I think it's important that everybody enjoys the prosperity.
Emma, what is the joint message, though? You talked, for example, in one of your speeches about access to a number of markets. That sounds very close to the best of both worlds, but isn't that the very arrangement that your party boycotted Stormont for 2 years over?
I think Northern Ireland is geographically located in a good way in terms of access and a number of markets. But of course, our sales pitch for Northern Ireland is much greater than that. We have a fantastic young, well-educated workforce. We have comparatively low setup costs for businesses. We have low staff turnover, which means those staff are loyal to the companies that invest. But as Michelle has indicated, that, you know, the fact that 70% of those businesses that invest in Northern Ireland reinvest is a real testimony to how fantastic and how good that investment is. And I do think that that positive joint leadership here this week is really important. I said last night, like, we're here as Irish and Ulster Scot, and of course in America, you know, those are the two big traditions that really has so much influence over the centuries in terms of not just politics and presidents, of course, but in terms of business and industry. And I think that's what we want to tap into, that rich heritage of this place, using the opportunity of this week, but to promote Northern Ireland and the opportunities that we can have. And of course, that investment brings huge opportunities for our people back home as well.
A third of the US population claims Irish descent. That means there's 10 times more Irish people in America than there is on the island of Ireland. But their perception can be a little bit out of date sometimes. Could they do more to promote reconciliation back home?
Well, I think that's a job of myself and Emma. I think we need to lead the way in terms of our approach to the Executive. I think we've tried to set that very positive, constructive and respectful tone, actually, in terms of our own leadership of the Executive. I mean, of course, we've had a very difficult past, but I mean, we are new generation leaders, and I am determined for us to keep our eyes very much fixed on the future and what we can do to better all people's lives. We collectively serve all the people who live in our wee small part of the world, and you know, that's why we're here. We're here because we want to do our best for the people that elect us and the people that we serve. And the opportunities that we have here because of those links that Emma just spoke of are immense, and we need to really, really tap into that. And we're still in this early period of the executive. There's an enormous amount of goodwill still there. Let's capitalise on it for the best of the people that we represent.
And how is the relationship in this honeymoon period? Have we had a row yet, or is it all going swimmingly?
No, we've been determined to build that good working relationship because, look, in politics there will always be challenges ahead. We know that. We know there's big issues coming up, some of which, of course, have been already discussed. But what we do know is actually by trying to work together constructively through that, by building those robust relationships, that gives us the best chance of finding those solutions. There are 4 parties in an executive. No coalition government is ever easy. It's never going to be smooth sailing. But what we want to do is to jointly send that message that we want to focus on the things where we can agree, get that consensus. We're working on the programme for government, for example, at the moment. Things like affordable childcare, challenging the big issues within special educational needs, fixing our health service. Those are all big, big issues where there's a lot of consensus, but they're not going to be easy issues to resolve either.
And just one final question for both of you, really. America's a deeply polarised place. It's just decided that 2 elderly men are going to compete again for the presidency. What can it learn from 2 women who are not ready for retirement, sharing power, compromising at the helm of government in Northern Ireland?
Well, I wouldn't like to think we're getting ready to retire, David. We only got into the job.
We voluntarily, involuntarily retired.
But listen, domestic politics is for the American people to discuss. For us at home, we're relatively young, we could still say that, in the executive, and determined to lead and to do our best. You know, people have their own observations about American politics. I'll stay out of that and use this week to beat our own drum in terms of what we're trying to achieve in terms of investment.
Like, as we said, like, there's a lot of enthusiasm, I think, here. There's a lot of goodwill for Northern Ireland and for us. And of course, we want to maximise that, not just, not for us personally, but for the benefit of everyone in Northern Ireland. And that must mean, not just getting the best wishes and all of the lovely things that people have said in this period of goodwill, but actually making sure that that translates into the investment we really need. We can't do this alone. We can't grow our economy alone. We need that foreign direct investment, and we want to work with our universities, with those businesses, with those that are willing to invest to really make Northern Ireland a thriving, better place that we want it to be.
Very diplomatic answer. Thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.